Hi, my name is Dante, and this is RACER Type 4, also known as
R4.
a game made by a company that used to make good games. Ridge Racer Type 4 is the fourth installment in a series of games that Bandai Namco has 100% forgotten about after driving the series into the ground, but it's a fucking masterpiece. Have you ever wanted to drift? Do you love driving through cities at night? And do you enjoy torturing yourself? Well, R4 might just be the game for you. Released on the PlayStation 1 in 1998, R4 is an arcade-style racing game that puts modern realistic racing games to shame with its gameplay and unprecedented wits. This unprecedented wits is shown off to you in just the opening cinematic, which is beautiful and shows Reiko Nagase, a popular character from the series, presumably being picked up by you, the player. With the mood set, you're put into the world of R4. From here, you can select any option you like. Hell, you could even go into the settings menu and stare at it for a few hours to get your kicks. I won't judge, but I suggest picking Grand Prix and getting right into the action. Just like that, you'll be put into the Real Racing Roots 99. Where you'll select from 4 teams and 4 car manufacturers to represent and utilize for your racing career. Pick any team you like and make sure not to select any grip style manufacturers unless you hate yourself, and embark on your journey to become the best driver in the world across 8 different courses in America and Japan. Your journey will be hard. Your team will judge your actions the whole way, and if you mess up, you may just have to abandon your quest to become the best of the best. But goddamn, you will feel amazing if you succeed. R4 has stellar gameplay, and without it, I think this game would be a little forgettable amidst the many arcade racing games of the time. Notice how I said a little forgettable, because the game is certainly also carried by its design, but I'll talk about that more later. In the meantime, let's talk gameplay. The game is tight, it's responsive, and it feels arcadey in all the right ways. The controls are simple, but the gameplay is surprisingly deep, especially when it ramps up its difficulty. Let me explain. While most noobs of the racing game genre may just push the pedal to the metal and pray, R4 allows an experienced player to show off their skills with a key gameplay element known as drifting, exclusive to a certain class of vehicles, but essential to enjoy the game to its fullest. If you remember me mentioning not picking grip-style manufacturers before, this is a big part of this. Playing with a grip-style car is objectively the wrong way to play R4. I learned this the hard way by picking grip-style cars when I first played the game, and I suffered immensely because of it. In short, just pick drift-style cars and use that shit. Now, you might be wondering how you drift. As far as I know, the game offers no tutorial whatsoever on it, so here's a quick explanation. Just like real-life racing, drifting should only be used to take corners. In-game, as you ramp up speed with X, let go before you take the corner and mash square gently, and you'll drift for however long you're mashing. Hit the gas at the end of your drift, and you'll go zooming after taking the corner cleanly. Now, from what I've read on GameFAQs, there are other ways to drift, but this is the most satisfying method that I use personally. With this, you're ready to take on the Real Racing Roots 99, or not. The game has a bit of a learning curve before you can consistently get first place. Besides learning how to properly drive, you have to learn the lay of the land, which may take a lot of failure, especially in my case. Every single level has a unique set of turns and straightaways, and some turns are so brutal you have to memorize them like the back of your hand to clear them. But the payoff is tremendous, as nothing will beat the feeling of taking a corner perfectly after crashing in that same spot time and time again. And of course, nothing will come close to the feeling of coming in first place, which is what racing is all about. It's also the position you should always go for, as you're actively punished for getting anything less than first place when you play Grand Prix. That's right, if you fuck up during a race, you might be stuck with a shitty vehicle for the entire Grand Prix, as your success greatly determines the upgrades you will receive from your respective team. Keep this in mind, and don't be afraid to reset if you get stuck with some absolute garbage. I should also warn you that besides the difficult courses you have to fight and master, the AI will also try time and time again to make sure you don't get first place. Besides having an advantage over you at the start, the AI will cheat if you try to take the position during a race, an occurrence so common I just had to talk about it. You see, if you bump into another car normally, you will lose speed similar to a wall crash. But depending on the circumstances, the attacking vehicle can get a speed boost from doing this. The bots know this, and will do it until you feel like ripping your hair out. There's a solution though, just do that shit right back to them. But enough about difficulty, controlling the game, and becoming a pro. That's only half the experience Ridge Racer offers. The other half is the strong sense of immersion this game provides even in the modern era. Like many arcade racers of the 90s, R4 tries to capture the feel of racing, the beginning of a new millennium, and the cool aesthetics of the time. And it certainly doesn't fail to capture any of that. Starting with the design, every single level in this game is crafted to perfection, and the little details make this game stand out against its competitor at the time, which is Gran Turismo. From Japan to America, you'll race by the docks, through the mountains, and through beautiful cityscapes with an atmosphere that isn't like anything else. There's not a single level in this game that isn't iconic, although I could probably live without Heaven or Hell, which is one of the hardest levels in any racing game ever made. Regardless of the difficulty though, I am fond of R4's courses, especially the ones that take place in the USA. But back to the little details, here's a few that I noticed. When you enter a tunnel, your car's lights turn on and the game sound changes to reflect the environment. In the dark or at night, every car in front of you has a subtle slipstream coming from its taillights. The interactive billboards on some maps change what they say depending on what lap you're on, and when you start a race, you get a racing girl next to your car who has a different look depending on what team you're representing. And if the attention to detail isn't enough, every single car in this game looks sick as hell, down to the unique livery you can rock depending on what racing team you're representing. It's all incredibly immersive. But yeah, that's the game that Ridge Racer Type 4 provides. It's good looking and good playing, but that's not even the real treasure of this game. The real treasure is the fucking soundtrack. Unironically, I wouldn't have ever checked this game out if I didn't stumble upon this game's music through a meme, which I would love to display on screen right now, but I would probably get suspended from YouTube. Just know, the meme involved the deadliest terrorist attack in human history. But anyways, Namco's sound team fucking delivered with this one. Everyone on the team worked hard to make a game soundtrack with everything I enjoy, from drum and bass to acid jazz. Ridge Racer Type 4 fucking kills it. There's a song that goes... And then there's another song that goes... And then there's a really, really good song that goes... And then when you reach the final stage, there's another song with homegirl sweet vocals that goes... So yeah, you could say this game has one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. I mean, it's so good that even JPEG Mafia sampled an R4 song for one of his tracks. If that isn't a testament to the quality, I don't know what is. So, what else does the supposed relic have to offer you besides rich gameplay and music? Well, there's a story. This is probably one of the least appealing parts of the whole game, but playing Grand Prix comes with 4 unique stories depending on what racing team you've decided to represent. Pretty much every story is relatively plain like a burger with just ketchup, but there's nothing wrong with that. It definitely gives you a tiny bit of motivation to do your best in the Grand Prix, as your team will have different reactions to your performance. Hell, the game's waifu will even show up in the story mode if you pick Pack Racing Team and get first place for your whole career. The only story that had me annoyed was Racing Team Sovalu's story, which is basically an old Italian man yelling at you that you can do better no matter how well you do. Otherwise, Grand Prix story is very comforting, like any old PS1 game. Also, when you win, the announcer might just roast you depending on what team you play on.
You guys were always the first to come in last place. Everyone thought you guys were all washed up, just dreaming about your past glories. But you really showed us today that you got some of that old fight left in you. Even when everyone wrote you off as a bunch of losers, you really showed them you're still number one. You've earned your bragging rights again. Congratulations, you losers. I mean, the fastest team alive, the Dig Racing Team.
Once you win the real racing routes, you're met with a sweet little song, and an aesthetic credits roll that captures the essence of this era with the backdrop of a city at dusk being shown to you prior. It's all perfect. Well, I've pretty much talked about all the main content you can enjoy in this game. Ridge Racer Type 4 comes with the extras you'd expect from any old racing game. Besides being able to race through any track freely after you beat the story, you can play through the story several times and unlock different cars to use in either free play or time attack. I bet there's probably a lot of fun to be had in time attack, but I refuse to play the game mode ever again because the announcer will rip into you if you're lagging behind. There are also extra trials, but I tried one of these and I got destroyed by the AI, so maybe these are only for real gamers. That's pretty much everything that Ridge Racer Type 4 comes with, but there's a very important question you might have after watching this incoherent review. How the hell do you play this game? Well, PS1 consoles and copies of R4 are still relatively cheap on any site that sells these things, so if you want to play this game legally, you can still go down that route at this point in time. However, if you're like me and you have a functional computer made after the year 2006 and a gamepad you can connect to said computer, emulation is a tempting offer. It's such a tempting offer, I've attached the link below where you can get the game and the appropriate emulator in one complete package. I've even included my save file, so you can just free race and enjoy the game's feel, although I don't have many cars unlocked, so please forgive me. And don't tell Namco Bandai. Just kidding. I sincerely doubt a single human being alive at the company even knows of R4's existence, but even though this game has been forgotten in the sands of time by the people who made it, and by at least 2 generations of gamers as they keep playing garbage AAA titles in Fortnite, R4 is something I think everyone should experience if it catches their eye. I certainly didn't regret checking this game out for myself. I won't lie, this game is rough at first. It'll treat you like dirt as you try to be the best, and there's a learning curve here most modern games don't have these days, but when the music starts bumping, and you go faster and faster, and the stage goes crazy as you take the lead on the final lap, that's when this game becomes something worth loving. In conclusion, Ridge Racer Type 4 is a masterpiece. Like many games made for the PS1, it's ambitious, made with love, and smooth as fuck. If arcade racing games ever make a return, this is certainly the baseline they should build off of. I love the game very much, and I will likely buy a physical copy of it in the future just out of respect for how much style it has. Anyways, this is Dante signing off. See you next time when I make a oop. What's this? Before I depart, I got a tiny update for the 4 people who actually watch my videos. I will be taking a short break from creating things until October, but I will return. I have plans for bigger and better reviews until the end of the year, so look forward to that unless life destroys me. I appreciate you all very much for watching my brain-dead content, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace.